Welcome to the Eat Your Content podcast. I'm your host, Rich Herrera. This is your podcast for all things food and pop culture. Thank you for tuning in. Just a reminder to follow me on socials at Eat Your Content and at Rich Herrera, and also to follow me on your podcast player of choice. Hit like, follow, and subscribe so you know when new episodes come out. Quick program reminder, this is a series of podcast episodes or podcast interviews that I did during a one-day hyper quick event called Potapalooza. Potapalooza, if I had to kind of boil it down into a sentence, this is like a speed dating event for podcast hosts and podcast guests, where we all kind of got in a room, read each other's bios, and decided, yeah, you're a match. Come on my show. And here we are. I have Tif Loeffler here with us. Tif, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here. Seriously, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Tif Loeffler, Positively Yours. I just want to start by celebrating the title of your podcast, Eat Your Content. And I read and I love it, that it's about food, pop culture, fantastic. Is there no greater connection between people that is so amazing than food? I could talk to you for an entire series about the power of food and connection and family and positivity. And when I read Eat Your Content, I thought about, because I am a positivity coach, an energy coach, a coach to remind entrepreneurs that we got to have some fun here too, because I don't know about you, but starting a business, it's going to be awesome. And then quite soon, and I don't understand why, except, we've got these beliefs that it's got to be hard and things aren't going to go well. And then you get a mindset, and we have so many thoughts in our head, and thousands of thoughts. And some of them are very tasty, and some of them are just disgusting. They're bitter and gross, but they tend to just be in our face all the time. We just put up with it. And they're spitting in the back, and they'll come back, and here's your next plate for the day. And what? Ugh. So I love to help disrupt those and say, you know what? There's a tasty bite here. No, you can have the tasty bite. It's okay. What I loved about the first thing I thought was Eat Your Content. I thought, okay, am I doing that? I'm talking about all this positivity and energy, and the world is so yummy, and let's just eat all those tasty bites. But am I doing that? Okay, that's something so I was so excited just to celebrate you on your podcast, to tell you thank you for that huge aha. And it's helping me moving forward to help my clients. What content are you eating? Like, what are you eating day to day? And I'm not talking about food, although we could talk about that later if you want to, which I love to talk about. I always like to work food into a conversation. And also the content of your day. What have you put on your plate? And I don't know if it's so much a food pyramid, but whatever shape it is, it's got to have some good stuff in there. And bitter is not necessarily bad, but if that's all you've got, that's not good. So I love being here. I can't wait to see more of your podcasts, especially about upcoming Top Chef, which I'm not as well versed in, but I do enjoy watching Iron Chef, going back to, back in the 90s? Love Iron Chef with a passion. And I think what I love so much about it is, I saw an episode recently, and everyone forgive me, I do not have the mind that can just come up with, it was season 1, episode 6, or this particular chef. But the chef was from Los Angeles, and he flew to the kitchen stadium, and he had horrible jet lag, which I thought, come on, people, we couldn't have figured this out a little bit. I think he had like a 2-hour nap, and then he's got to go against the Iron Chef. But what I loved is he was so excited about the quality and quantity of the ingredients in Kitchen Stadium. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'll let you have a word in edgewise, Rich.
No, please continue.
I was so happy for him. And if anybody watches Iron Chef, it's just these exquisite ingredients. I mean, they have they have caviar. They have, I don't know how to say the mushroom, and I just saw the episode, Matasake mushroom, or there's a special mushroom that goes for they had this pile of mushrooms, so that's $4,000 in mushrooms. Whoa. And they have lobster, and they have truffle. I mean, they have truffles and foie gras like it's going out of style. Nobody wants it anymore, so I guess we'll just have a whole bunch of it here. and all this fresh fish and all these amazing vegetables. And then when they do a dessert special, they've got these exquisite fruits and chocolates and just anything your heart could desire, the finest of everything. And I love that this is offered, but I do love this chef in particular was so thrilled. And he even commented, I can't get this where I'm at. I am so happy to be here. And I love when people take happy advantage of that food that's offered to them. And I'm just thinking, wow, it's like a metaphor for life. Like they talk about when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And then there was some video game where there was a voice there and he's like, you know what, life gives you lemonade. You say, I don't want these lemons. Get rid of them. What did you give me these for? I can't stand them. But now I'm thinking, but what about when life gives you the foie gras and the caviar and the truffles? Do you just go, yeah, I just don't know if I deserve that today. Maybe I haven't done enough, or, I just can't really think of anything right now. I'm so stressed. And I just am excited to now look at the Iron Chef in an even all new way. But I also find it hilarious that after they have this hour, which goes by quick, and I love the one episode of an Italian chef who, I don't know his concept of time. He only made one dish in 1 hour. He just didn't get it, and come on. But I love that they have the words, and now tasting and judgment. It just cracks me up. It's not tasting and a verdict, tasting and judgment. But no matter what they've made, it is so beyond what we can usually make in our regular kitchens. But it does inspire me. And I have done certain things with certain ingredients and been just a little more creative or just added a little something and feeling good about, you know what? I could do some version of something, even if it's about this much, I can still do that. I can take one caviar egg worth of that idea, but I can still do it. So that's why I'm so excited that you have this podcast about Eat Your Content. So back to you, Rich.
And that was the introduction, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll tell you how I really feel later.
Yeah, right.
And time.
And thank you. Good night. No, I'm just kidding. So you would have loved last season's episode, last season's Top Chef, because there was a chef on there. Her name was Chef Savannah Miller. This one challenge they had was to create a dish that represented your time on Top Chef, food competition show, right? Oh. So she makes this dish called a potato pave, which is a thinly sliced potato, and it's layered, and you have to put the potatoes under a weight for it to form, right? So she called it a potato pave, and how it represented her time on Top Chef was the potato pave is a seemingly simple dish. It's just potatoes and cream, but it takes heat and pressure to make it perfect. And that was how she described her time on Top Chef. And she's like I called it her personal growth potato pave, because she came on the show on the first episode, they ask all the chefs, right, how many won a James Beard Award? How many of you work in Michelin star restaurants? And so all these hands go up. They have all these accolades, and she didn't raise her hand for anything. Like she was a young chef, not new to the industry, just a young chef making her way. So as she was going through, she was getting better and better and better in all these challenges until she made it to the finals. And then she made this potato pave and told this really great story about how it represented her personal growth on the show. And it was heat and pressure, and that heat and pressure made her a better chef throughout these multiple weeks. And, that won her that particular episode's competition. So right on brand for you. And I was going to say, what is your origin story about how you got to where you are today? What is your personal growth story from back in the day to what landed you on Potapalooza right now?
Ooh, that's a great question. Okay. In a nutshell, I don't know if you've heard of this thing called COVID, or it was March of 2020 and things happened. I had just been laid off from a job that I thought was going to be my lifetime job. Mm. And the store manager called me in, but this was in January. And the reason I tell this story is just because, hey, you have those moments where I'm sitting at the desk across from him, and he's reading all of this very legalese stuff. And it's talking about we hold honesty and integrity to the highest standard. And I thought the cops were outside. I had no idea what they thought I did. But at the very end, he goes, I'm very sorry to let you know our department is closing. And I couldn't help but say, because of all the before chatter, did I have anything to do? Oh, no, we want you to stay in a different department. I decided I just couldn't do it. And that was going to be my next move. And for millions of us, we didn't know what the next move was for several months. And just out of the blue, I don't know how I got an email about a coaching program or how to develop your own course. And I failed miserably. But you know what I loved best about it was, first of all, who cares that I failed miserably? And that was my own take on it. But there was coaching. And I saw how people were being guided. And it just something exploded inside of me. I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And so I took a coaching course. And we've had some ups and downs, and I will say that, it's passion is wonderful, but also maybe a little bit more logic thinking when it comes to investing in programs that promise you certain things and they don't happen. And this is where I'd like to go back to, thank God for comfort food. And here I am today, and it's 2025, and I am so grateful to be here and to still have, I've suffered, and I will say it, that I have two brothers I love more than life itself, and my younger brother died suddenly at the end of March of 2024. And
sorry.
Thank you. And the fact that I am able to say that without bursting into tears is a miracle. I am so grateful for my youngest brother and my parents, but I'm still trying to figure out how people get through this. And to talk about food and comfort, my mom's best friend, she just didn't know what to do. And I understand this now on a deeper level. When people are almost out of their minds, they want to help you somehow. And what do you do? What can you do? And she made a special dish for us. And they're called calico beans. And when she brought that over, how much that meant to us. And so I'm also grateful, and I do love talking about food because I love talking about how sometimes when nothing else can comfort you, that to have someone bring that with all the love in her heart, and it's just kind of beyond words. And we've just recently celebrated in the United States Valentine's Day. And people talk about the commercial part of it. Yes, it's there. But also, what a wonderful thing that chocolates is like the thing to get people. As far as just this loving, beautiful way to express how you feel. I'm going to give you this tasty bite, this amazing chocolate. And I was so excited this year to bring to my boyfriend his favorite chocolate, which is Linder truffles. And my favorite chocolate currently is the Ferrero Rocher, the little gold balls with the and I just love that we can use food as an instrument of love. And yeah, I know there's all those other instruments that, comfort food can be too much comfort food, and ways of love can go a little too far. When, why haven't you eaten everything I put in front of you? Don't you love me? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about that. And watching the shows, and I guess if I could just about the Great British Bake Off, I love that show most of all because of everyone's intense desire to win, and yet they can't help but love on each other also and help each other. If there's, if someone needs some help, they're just so ready and willing because they want everyone to have the best. They want everyone to have the best shot, so to speak. And I love how, again, kind of like a whole series on the power of food. And so I love also watching the Great British Bake Off. I love binge watching those. I love to bake. I love to bake cookies. I love the things they bake. I don't know if I could ever, but it's amazing to see the camaraderie, but also that focus on making something that has never been made before. And whenever Paul Hollywood says something like, I've never had this before, I think, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, and I think with Great British Bake Off, it's why it became so popular is because it was the antithesis of reality competition back when those were launched. I mean, it was all about sabotage and backstabbing. Yeah, exactly. And Great British Bake Off just wasn't that. It was just so lovely and effervescent, and everybody's like, here, have an egg. I'm not using all these eggs. You need some eggs, or whatever the case is. And people gravitated to that, and people love to see that it's not, doesn't have to be all sabotage and backstabbing, that there can be some it's competition, but collaborative, right? It's a collaborative
Mm-hmm.
competition, and I think a lot of people were drawn to that antithesis. Even Top Chef, the earlier seasons were very much backstabby and the real world slash chef competition, right? And then as the seasons progressed, it became less of that, and the chefs became a lot more collaborative and helping each other out, and that they're cooking for something bigger than themselves, and that food is
Mm.
an expression of love, and that food is an expression of representation. Or one season they had an African chef, and you didn't see African food a lot on these types of shows, and really highlighted that West African culture, that Ghana culture of the food. And it was really neat to see. And you're introduced to these foods that you've never seen before. And now people are going out and asking for it. And some of these cooking shows have really changed the way people eat, and expect from food, for better or for worse. But it has changed the palate of viewers. So, um, yeah, I think food is a great equalizer. I think Anthony Bourdain was talking about food being
Mm.
having conversations over a table of food. It's hard to argue with somebody when you're both eating food that you love, and
Mhm.
you're not having to yell at each other because you're both just stuffing your faces, right? So it's food is a great way to lower the temperature in the room when you're
Mm.
having conflict. Food is a great way to raise morale. I have a day job. I work in a corporate environment, and a couple of years ago, I started bringing food trucks in twice a month for people to have
Brilliant.
lunch. Yeah, I mean, they still had to pay. I wasn't paying for it or anything, but it
You
was
gave him
just,
an option.
I gave them an option, and it was because the closest things around were like McDonald's, Wendy's, those sort of things. But to bring in locally owned food trucks, cooking fresh food, hot food, that you just walk out your door, out of the office door, you go to a food truck and you get the food that you need, and you stand and you talk to each other, and you're collaborating with a department that you haven't before because you're meeting them for lunch,
Nice.
and you're getting hot, fresh food, and it just the morale that was raised just by bringing in food trucks twice a month was remarkable. And a fed crew is a happy crew. So yeah, so I agree with all of the points that you made, with everything that you said about food and its purpose to express. And I can't think of a better way to express love to somebody than to cook for them, because you're putting your heart and soul on a plate, and you're representing, this is you on a plate to that person. So yeah, that's really good stuff. So the last couple of minutes here, I do want to, this time just flew by.
It
I
did.
It did, didn't it?
How fun.
I do want to give you a few minutes to let you promote your business. What we're all here at Potapalooza to do is to have our voices be heard. So I want to give you a few minutes to promote your business, where people can find you on the web, on socials, anything like that. Want to roll out the red carpet for you.
Oh, you are so sweet. Rich, thank you. I want to give a shout out to my mom, who is an amazing chef. She really is. I think one of my favorite stories is my mom and my youngest brother went to visit my younger brother, and my dad and I were home, and we went out to eat, and we went to a restaurant that had this amazing fried chicken. And when she came back, we were raving about it. And she gave us a look like, oh. And the very next night, she whipped out some fried chicken that made that other fried chicken seem like nothing. And I just love that we were just so thrilled. We're like, ooh, where else can we go to tell her this was so amazing? And then have her go, oh, yeah, we'll wait and see. And I also wanted to give a shout out to my mom, because even though, family sometimes doesn't see the vision of what your dream is, she said to me early on, if you're going to do this, then go for it and do it for those of us who didn't. And saying that, because it can be very easy to forget the sacrifices that your parents make, even though they don't look like, there's different ways of that
Hmm.
sacrifice. And
Hmm.
I am so grateful for my family. And I appreciated that you talked about on the earlier editions of Top Chef, there was more sabotage, which is right in my wheelhouse because we have this amazing mind and it tends to sabotage us. And why does it do that? And for the longest time, it was, about thinking, it's about keeping us safe. And it's, the mind tries its best. It's not about so much keeping us safe. It's just getting us through the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you realize that, well, I want to just get through the day, but your mind's like, look, I kept you here to the end of the day. My job is done. Maybe that job could be altered a little. I think we need to throw in a couple more requisites in the resume and say, I think we need to beef this up a bit. I think we could do a little more here. And so what I really just love helping people with is to bring a certain bit of, and thank you for the word effervescence. When you said that word, I was like, oh, thank you. I love to bring the effervescence to those thoughts and give them a little more buoyancy and a little more playfulness. And when we're able to look at what we're doing with, dare I say it, a sense of humor also, because life cannot, sometimes it seems it cannot pile any more on us, and then it does some more. And like the comforting power of food, we can create a new comfort with the environment we put our minds in. And it is a choice. And there are days where it's harder than others. And I really appreciate learning recently that, it really doesn't matter what your DNA is, how you were raised. These are good stories and they are a part of who we are and what we've gone through. And also that we do get to choose our thoughts and we don't have to rely on that old adage, well, the subconscious mind, that just runs the show. Well, what if we just start talking to the subconscious mind and saying, hey, I want a different story here. And it does listen. And to tap into that universal divine mind that there are all the, and how many food metaphors I can only think of, like, there's all these great ingredients. And you can put them together into something absolutely tasty, or you can create something that tastes absolutely terrible, but you're just going to put up with that. I say no. There's just too much good out there. There's too much yumminess. And to create a mindset that allows you to play and explore and be curious and to celebrate. I love that on the Great British Bake Off, they celebrate, when everybody brings something amazing, they celebrate it. Like, oh, I wish I would have thought of that. That's so amazing. I'm going to clap for you. And Iron Chef, the awe that comes from watching those incredible dishes that are created, it's just, but it's not just for a few. It is for everyone. And that's my sacred happy mission, is to just remind people that there is just so much yumminess out there, and tasty bites are everything, and they don't have to be just once in a while. You can bring something every day, and on the days you can't, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. But more often than not, I want to choose those tasty bites. So again, when I saw Eat Your Content as a possibility, I was like, yes, oh, please, oh, please. And then I didn't get picked. But then at the last minute, I got connected with you. So I am thrilled, and I love that I got to be here talking about food with you when I let you have a word in edgewise. So thanks.
No problem. No problem. So what's your social media handles? I want to make sure people know where to find you.
Thank you. I love to be on Instagram and LinkedIn, Tif Loeffler, TIFLOEFFLER. Just look for the girl with the flower in her hair, because I do love to always have a flower in my hair, because it's whimsical, gives someone something to talk about, and it's branding, but it's also just who I am. So it wasn't for any other reason than I just like it. So, and not as much as I like food, but I like to wear a flower in my hair every day.
It's easier to wear a flower in your hair than like a hamburger. So there you go.
It really is, isn't it?
Well, Tif, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for your time and spending it with me. And folks, if you want to find out more, go to Tif Loeffler's Instagram at Tif Loeffler, I'm guessing.
Yep, at Tif Loeffler. Thank you.
No problem. And don't forget to follow me on socials at Eat Your Content and at Rich Herrera, and make sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. Tif, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.